I moved my son into a big bed because we were moving house, and he was about 2.5 at the time, so quite late actually. But that was, everything was moving, so might as well move him into a big bed as well at the same time. And to be honest, he was well ready. He was way too big for his cot. We'd taken the side off and everything, but he was getting taller. And in general, he was kind of much more aware and more aware of rules. I felt like he would understand that he's not supposed to be getting out of the bed and everything else, so that is obviously a concern. And generally, he was just becoming a little bit more of a boy than a baby. So when we moved my son into a bed, I set the bed up in his room in the morning. We built the bed so that he could play in it during the day, because I thought that if we did it all at bedtime, it would be too much and too exciting and we wouldn't have a hope of getting him to go to sleep. So we let him play with it during the day so that he could explore it and understand it, and also learn how far off the ground it was and all those kind of things. And so then when we came to bedtime, he was actually excited to go into it, especially on those first few nights. It was a great novelty, and he understood what it was for and why it was there. And we did our bedtime stories and we had bath time, so we kept the rest of the routine as normal as we could. And then he got to go in his big boy bed, which was super exciting for him. I was quite worried about the transition because my son, luckily for me, has always been a creature of routine and has always been quite good at going to bed at 7 p.m. So anything that kind of massively interrupts that is a bit of a worry. But actually, he took to it pretty well. He took to it fairly naturally. It was more actually after he'd changed into the big bed, then after he got over the novelty of it, then a few weeks later, then he started to explore whether he could get out of his bed in the night or muck about a little bit. So that was probably a bit more of a challenge for us. My advice to others would be to work with your child. Every child is different, and some children push every boundary going, and so be prepared for that, whereas others just love a novelty new thing. So kind of work really carefully with your child and approach it from their point of view and make it exciting for them. We used the Gro Bed because I was a bit worried about him falling out of the bed at night and that kind of thing. He's not really one to jump out of bed very often, but whether or not when he was asleep he might fall out. So that was really helpful to us. And also letting him kind of choose his own bed frame as well really helped with us, so that he felt like he had real ownership of that.